Good afternoon, Chicago. This is Jimmy Escobar here from Second City Homes. I'm here with Michelle Aponte from PERL Mortgage. Today we're going to do a short video about the pre-approval process, and I got Michelle here to speak to us about that. Can you tell everyone a little bit about you before we begin?
Hi everyone, my name is Michelle Aponte with PERL Mortgage, as Jimmy mentioned. So I've been in the mortgage industry actually since 2003. So 15 years in the mortgage industry in various roles. Been here with PERL almost 3 years now. I focus working with first-time home buyers and helping them get into their homes.
Yeah, and the reason I brought Michelle here is because Michelle is great at what she does. She refinanced me several years ago, and she just pulled a Hail Mary a couple of weeks ago and saved the deal for me. So
yes.
I want somebody with some professionalism to speak to you guys, okay?
Experience matters.
Yes, especially for this, such an important process. As this,
yeah.
And your experience is great. So I'm glad that we brought you here today, okay?
Awesome.
Now the first question I wanted to ask you, why is the pre-approval so important?
Very good question. So the pre-approval process is going to allow us to determine your purchasing power. So if you don't go through a pre-approval process, maybe you talk to somebody by phone and give them some numbers about what your income might look like and what you think your credit looks like. You're getting a very high level understanding to that lender, but it's not thorough enough to really understand what your purchasing power is. So what it can ultimately do is actually provide some false hope, because maybe we think that you're going to qualify for X amount, and then when we get the paperwork and we run everything through the underwriting system, we find out that that is not the case. So we want to avoid creating false hope and wasting your time ultimately, because your time is important, right?
Right, and I guess that'd be the difference between the pre-qualification and actual pre-approval, where you actually look at all the financial documents and, like you said, give them a better idea of what you can afford. Because as you said, I've taken buyers sometimes where they say, I got pre-qualified, I'm ready to go. We waste a lot of weeks' time trying to find a property, and then once we finally get the contract to the loan officer, they're like, oh no, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, I can't do it now. So, which is kind of what happened last time when you saved me, so thank you again for that. So that's why you want to make sure that when you start looking for a property, the first step is to call Michelle here and get a pre-approval, right? Now, what are some of the items that you'll need from the buyers?
So I like to do a very thorough pre-approval. So what I'll do is I'm going to collect income documents. Depending on how you get paid, we may collect pay stubs from you. If you're self-employed, we might need a year-to-date profit and loss statement, and we're going to collect a couple years of your W-2s, 1099s, tax returns, business returns, depending again on your personal situation. And we also want to verify funds for closing. So we'll collect bank statements for a few months. And sometimes there's some obligations that aren't on the credit report, so we may need additional paperwork for those items that are not on the credit report.
And pull credit and all that as well.
We pull a full credit report, do a full application, and then once we get all of the documentation, it goes through the underwriting system. So this is what's really key, and you'll see that also with your pre-approval letters.
Right.
The seller wants to know, your agent wants to know that your file has been not only reviewed, but also submitted through an underwriting system and has been checked against guidelines to make sure that all the details in your application, all the details in your credit report have been considered and cross-checked with the guidelines for the program you're applying for.
Right, so as Michelle just said, you want to make sure all this goes through underwriting, because they're the ones that are going to kind of give you the final yay or nay.
Yes.
So if they give you the okay, then you're ready to start looking for properties, right?
Yes.
Now, I get this question a lot. What's the difference between, coming here and speaking to you or going to, say your Chase or Bank of America? Like, what's the difference? Because a lot of times people are confused about that.
Very good question. So PERL Mortgage is actually a correspondent lender. So that means that we're kind of a hybrid between a broker shop and a retail bank. So if you go to a retail bank to talk about the mortgage process, you will find that there are limited programs they have available, because they do have other lines of business. They have your checking, savings accounts, maybe credit cards, personal loans. So mortgages is one of the businesses that they have. With us at PERL Mortgage, all we do are mortgages. So our focus is on getting all of the programs available for you, so we have more options to lend. And so that's going to be really the biggest difference, is that we're going to have more options for them to qualify for. Right,
so you work with various amount of lenders, whereas,
yes,
Chase has their guidelines, this bank has their guidelines, but you have more options for buyers, right?
Exactly. And so, we're not a broker where we would send off the loan to someone else and they would complete the underwriting and the processing of the file. We do everything in-house. So we have complete control from beginning to end, and we fund our loans. So we're able to do quick closings, within 3 weeks if needed. and we have more options available for our buyers.
Yeah, I mean, the deal you saved me on, I think you got that like in under 3 weeks, and that was during the holidays. So, you know, you guys worked really fast on that. So thanks again for that. And in terms of down payment, what are, you know, you check the bank statements to see how much money they have in there for the down payment, but they can also get a gift, correct?
Yes, so a gift is acceptable from family, and then we also have down payment assistance programs as well, especially for the first-time home buyers. So those are things that we talk about when we're discussing not just the down payment, but the closing costs. How much cash in total do you need, and what are the acceptable sources that we can use for the loan itself and for closing? And
your real estate broker, me, can also negotiate some closing cost credits as well. So with all these credits on the financing side, maybe some credits on the seller side, maybe a gift from your family member, your parents, you know, pretty much could buy a property with minimal amount of money down, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Anything else you want to add?
No, thanks for having me today.
Thank you for coming.
All right.
Thank you, Chicago. So now you know if you need to get pre-approved, not pre-qualified, if you need to get pre-approved, make sure you give, I'm going to add Michelle's information onto this video. Make sure you give her a call. And if you're ready to start looking for a property with that letter in hand, make sure you give me a call. All right?
Have a
Bye,
good day,
guys.
everyone.